Hello everyone, my name is Dylan and this is my discussion video for the first scenario for Aviation 326 at Liberty. So the basics of this flight is we are a private pilot working towards a commercial license on a 123 nautical mile cross-country flight from Richland to Dare County. The scenario at hand is that we went to land. We had to initiate a go around due to wildlife on the runway, and the dilemma is what should we do next. So the initial reaction at first glance, we have to do a go around. There's 3 different steps that we could take. I'll get into that in a second. But we did have to do a go around because there's a deer on the runway. We couldn't land there, so now we got to figure out what we're gonna do next. The different steps are we could do a low approach, fly low over the runway, scare all the wildlife off, go in again, and then go to land. We could go to another airport around us, fuel permitting, and then head back, or we could go back to the airport that we originally started at, but there's some legality with that. So the question of legality is depending on where we go, where we land, documents what we can log as cross-country time or not. We look at FAR 61 B section 2 for this, and under the second part, so section B, it said that includes a landing point that was at least straight line distance of 50 nautical miles or more, and involves the usage of some kind of navigation source, dead reckoning, pilotage, GPS, radio, whatever, which we will assume that we did that. So our options, the first option is if we just went straight back to the airport, we didn't log it as cross-country time and we got to redo the flight. Not ideal, not something we're looking to do. The second option is we fly to a nearby airport, say some that's 15, 20 miles north, whatever. That's more busy, won't have wildlife on the runway, hopefully again. And we'll use that as long as it's more than 50 miles from our original airport. Then we can log it as cross-country time. There's concerns with that, like dispatch. If the people that rented us the airplane, we told them we're going to one airport and we end up at a different one, that might raise some red flags for them. We don't have internet, we can't call them, let them know what's going on. So that's not the best for that scenario or situation. And as far as field planning, which I'll talk about that some more later, because who knows if we even have enough fuel. Which means that we're left with option 3. Well, not left with, but we'll see. Option 3 is that we make it out of the low pass to scare off all the wildlife, and then we go around, and the next time around we go to land. This is a common practice done at less busy airports where you do a low pass, scare off all the birds, scare off all the wildlife, all the whatever you might see on the runway, snakes, deer, rabbits, buffalo, whatever. It doesn't matter. But that's a common practice that I see at some places where you do a low pass, scare everybody off, and then go back and land. This makes the least amount of changes to our flight plan because we originally planned to go out on our 120 whatever mile cross country, land, do a couple touch and goes, and go back, which fits right into what we were doing before. It doesn't set off any alarms anywhere. We're landing where we should be, and it's straight back, following the original guidelines of the flight that we had originally planned for. And over the PAVE checklist, pilot, we got to be able to do quick mental math, fuel burn for the reserve, how long we're going to be out, what we should do, and be able to keep certain regulations in the back of our mind at all times during the flights in case something like this does happen, and we can base our decisions off of the regulations and what else we should do. The aircraft, there's nothing really too crazy for this in the PAVE checklist other than fuel reserve. We'll assume that we plan for 2.5 hours of fuel burn and we have 4 hours of fuel on board, which means that fuel reserves is not a question for this scenario, and it's not something that we should be worried about. The environment, there's a deer on the runway, simple as that. We'll say that all the TAFs and the nearby airports are showing us perfect VFR weather for the rest of the way, and there's nothing as past animals on the runway that we should be worried about with weather. External pressures, this is where it gets tricky because we just come into land, oh, go around, there's deer on the runway. What should we do? We have to make those quick decisions of, okay, this is what the regulation says. I have to land at the airport of this far away for it to count. Can I land at that airport again? Should I try again? Should I let anybody know? Should I call somebody? Should I go to a different airport instead? This is where a lot of things happen. If we decide to go to a different airport, that's a lot that we have to do in that quick span of time. Make a new flight plan, do field calculations real quick, call people up, check some weather. If it's that close, that's a lot to do in that short amount of time. So there's a lot that we could deal with that. So we're going to use the decide model to picture what we're going to do for this scenario. So we're going to detect, oh, there's deer on the runway, estimate. We had to go around, consider what are the options. We had our 3. Identify. The best plan of action, I would say, is to stay at the current airfield that we're at, do that low pass, and try to land again. We do this because it's the least that we have to change. Just treat it as a normal go-around. Make sure that we're very vigilant about other animals on the runway, and ensure that we can get that touch and go to meet the requirements. We do this. We do a touch and go. Nothing crazy. All the animals are hidden from us at this point, and we evaluate after we take off again. We did this touch and go. We now have our required landing for the regulation, and we're good to go back to our destination airport, put it in our logbook as cross-country time. That's about it for this scenario. Pretty good scenario. It sounds fairly realistic. Sounds like something I'd run into flying out in the middle of nowhere. And it was pretty fun going through the regulations. A good reminder of what we have to be looking for, because there's different requirements for different regulations. An example is for ATP time, cross-country time, the regulation says that it's just you fly in a straight line of 50 miles, turn around, and you can log that as cross-country time. So it's very important that we keep in the back of our head what each of these things mean and what we need for the specific scenario. And yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks, and I look forward to seeing y'all's videos. Thank you. Bye.